But yeah. Have you gone?
I'd like to call this meeting of Timberville Town Council order, October 10, 2024. Please stand and join me in prayer. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Okay, council, everybody should have received a copy of their minutes in their packet. I hope everyone had a chance to review them. Are there any corrections, additions, amendments, or anything that need to be done to the minutes? If not, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Isaac. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Sarah. Go around the room.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Got it. Everyone has a copy of the treasurer's report. You'll see there's one here on the bottom in the middle. It says savings reflects a deduction of $34,000 for the computers, but we have received the grant money, so that's been put back into savings.
Yes, it just doesn't reflect.
So your savings is actually about $24,000 lower than it should be. So
Yes.
that's all in. So we've got, the chief told us we were good on all our grant repayments for PD.
Yes, that's correct.
So we're good. Okay, any questions, any other questions on loan balances, general savings, and all that stuff? Okay. Bills for payment. Everybody has a list of bills. You'll notice the one big one where we're finishing up. I think that's the last payment on Squar Mine Water, right?
For that contractor.
For that contractor, we have the paving to do. Okay.
And if you take that out, we're under $100,000.
It would have been real small, if it was 300,000 for that. Any questions for AC or Belinda, anything on the bills? Okay, I need a motion, folks.
Make a motion, pay the bills.
Thank you, Sharon. Do I have a second? Thank you, Clarence. Around the room?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, guys, thank you all. Okay, police report. You got anything for us today, Chief?
Nothing that wasn't in the email. Apologize for that kind of going out late last night.
Good to go?
Like,
Okay. AC, Public Works.
I've got quite a bit of stuff to talk about, or just to update council on. We have, as I put out in the memo, you can see the progress they're making on the Macaulay Drive sidewalk project, and it's looking really, really good. Just to clear up any confusion there may be, that is a VDOT administered project. The town, basically what we did is we gave matching funds to it. It's a revenue sharing project, but VDOT does all of the procurement and selecting of the contractors and all that. The town didn't actually have any hand in that. So I think there was a little bit of question about how that process is working. I sent out about the Rockham County Tourism Grant, and I just wanted to check and see if we get consensus from council if everybody's good with what I proposed in the memo about the matching funds if our project's selected. So I didn't hear anything from anybody saying otherwise.
Say no comments. Consensus.
Silence is consensus.
That's just consensus there, okay.
We received the updated plans for the Tractor Supply Store, and all the agencies that need to review it are currently reviewing it with to take into account the comments that were made from the town, the county, VDOT.
No, it's still starting this spring.
But as far as I know, that schedule is still the same. It's still to start in the springtime. We have received applications, which will be coming before Planning Commission at next week's meeting, and then we'll have a joint public hearing at next month's meeting, at next month's council meeting, for a variance. Actually, the variance will go to the BZA, but then a conditional use for the warehouse property down here. I talked to Quentin about this, and because of how close the warehouse is and the length of time that it hasn't been used as a warehouse, actually being used as a warehouse, it's it doesn't meet the distance requirements between that property and the residential properties on Granny Smith. So they have to apply for a variance for that, and then to use it as a warehouse in the B1 zoning where it's located, they have to get a conditional use for that. So there's a couple processes that are going on, that will be going on somewhat concurrently. The owner has somebody who's interested that wants to purchase the property, and that's why we're going through this process, and so they can get all those things in order before they sign the paperwork to take ownership of the property. We had our kickoff meeting yesterday. It was Chris, Derek, our engineer Carl, and myself with the firm that's going to be conducting our water source study and search. So we finally got a response on that and get that in the process. Right now we have adequate water to supply the town. We do have a fair amount of development that's coming up, and we just want to make sure that we stay ahead of that. This was one of the items we discussed with the ARPA funding, and so we had allocated funds, or the council had allocated funds to go towards this study to try to find a new water source, just to make sure that we stay ahead of the ball. We don't want to have a bunch of development or have a whole bunch of development interest and then not be able to provide service to them. So we are moving on that project now. One thing that Chris provided me with the information a while ago, and I don't think that I sent it out to the council, but it was just interesting with some of these projects that we've been doing, the water line improvements. One of the big ones was over on Lone Pine Drive, and that was several years ago. It connected from the Timber Hills subdivision and came up through the property and up Lone Pine Drive and tied in around the townhouses there on Lone Pine. And with those improvements, our flow increased from 950 gallons a minute to 1,130 gallons a minute in that area. With the spar mine improvements, we saw an increase flow from 750 gallons a minute to 1,110 gallons a minute. So it was nice to see that. When we see those numbers, it shows that the projects that we're doing with the funds that we're putting towards those are definitely worthwhile. When Timbercrest subdivision was started, the regulations were one number for fire flow, which was back in the early 90s. And then when they started doing some of the later phases in more recent years, we had to make adjustments to some of those lot sizes because the fire flows didn't meet the county standards at that time. But now, even with, since we got up to the 1,100 plus flow rate, then it would meet the county standards. So it's always good to see that improvement in those flows for fire suppression purposes. Quinn, you have to help me out on this one. Talked to Quinn about this. The Planning Commission has addressed an issue, a blight issue at 337 3rd Avenue. I know the police department's been dealing with grass there for quite some time without getting any response from the property owner. The Planning Commission preliminarily determined it to be blighted. I sent the letters. They got sent back, not being accepted. We can't get a hold of the property owner. The property owner doesn't live at that property. They're elsewhere.
So I have like a one-page kind of bullet point thing that I think we could go through under other business after we get through the public hearing. If that's right with you?
That's fine with me.
Yeah, let's do that.
Our annual application package for the VDOT snow removal contract has been submitted. I attended a meeting with VDOT, Central Shenandoah Planning District Commission and Broadway about a study or evaluation that VDOT's going to be doing on Route 259 over the next couple of years. And they're looking to address some of the concerns. They have a couple hot spots on there where accidents have been bad and are getting worse. That's been one of the corridors that we've identified for a long time in the rural transportation plan of needing improvements. So they're starting that process to see, to get that into the pipeline to be able to hopefully address it at some point. All right, that's everything that I have for public works. Some other stuff on the list.
Chris, you want a moment to talk about that water leak?
Just give y'all a heads up, the other day, I guess last Wednesday, was that the day we had class?
Wednesday.
A couple of us were in class, being worked for lunch. Got an alarm, one of our people got an alarm for low water alarm for our tanks, which that means there's a problem, big problem usually. In my office, I can monitor tank levels, see a few things with our SCADA system, so I immediately went there, and sure enough, at 9 o'clock that morning, we started losing water at a rate of about 100,000 gallons an hour. For us, that's a big deal. One tank's 500,000, another tank's about 400,000. So start figuring that up in your head in about 3 hours. About 3 more hours, we've been in big trouble. Pretty quick finding it. It just happened to be right out in the wide open. It didn't hide from us like it does sometimes. So within about half an hour, we were able to shut some valves, locate it, shut some valves, and control the bleed. Immediately got our spring up and running so that we could maintain a pretty good pressure for the tank. And somewhere along that line, I believe the ladies in the office kind of took the pressure call, which it's always helpful too. But one thing I wanted to tell you guys, that day, every department was affected by this water. Police department helped us direct traffic. The office, I'm sure, is a madhouse with the phone calls, but if we drop 3 pounds of pressure, somebody's going to notice it. I don't know how, but it seems like that's the way it goes. AC came out. I called this fellow, and I'll tell you right now, for everybody, I called him to let him know what's going on when we have these leaks, and the next thing I know, he's coming in. He's got his work boots on, and he's not afraid to get his shoes dirty, and I appreciate that. That means a lot, because I probably can guarantee you, in 3 counties here, he's probably the only one that'll get their shoes dirty to help. So, thank you. I appreciate that. Every time we turn around on something like this, and it's major, you're there, and I appreciate it. Don, same way with you. You guys are good team members, and you fall right in and not afraid to get your hands dirty. So we appreciate that. So again, team effort, because everybody had a part in that league. So I appreciate everybody's help. So just
It was just a couple hours, so thank you all too. It was just a few hours.
Yeah, we got the water shut off. Ended up, we only affected probably 20 or 30 residents down to 11, so pretty good deal.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Okay, now we're here for a joint public hearing for the Plan Commission and the council. So you're gonna watch this here, make sure I do it right.
That's why I'm here.
And Brad, you're in charge today?
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay, so you have to call your Plan Commission meeting to order.
Okay. I'd like to call the planning commission meeting to order.
And is there anything the Plan Commission wants to say before we get started? And I'll call the joint Planning Commission and Council public comment to order.
Right?
I'm getting better at this. I do have a cheat sheet. It helps. It helps. So now we'll open up. Again, we're here for public comment on the Roxbury Master Plan. Wayne, do you want to say something about it first, or
We were,
or somebody, or anybody?
yeah.
Good evening. My name is Seth Roderick. I'm representing the applicant. I'm with Monteverdi Engineering and Design Studio located in Harrisburg. The request is to essentially create a new plan of development for the parcels in question. We have a third parcel that was already zoned R5 as well, and that parcel being added to the other 2 allows for roadway extensions and connectivity that was not previously part of the old plan. Also includes, of course, a little more density, which helps affordability for the project as a whole. I will just want to point out, I know this has already gone through once from a planning commission standpoint, and I think everybody's seen the plan in advance. Just want to kind of point out that the small changes that were made since the last time, the one comment that we heard resounding was more buffer between our project and the neighbors. And so we were able to shift the road, hug the far side of that property line, and that created about a 50-foot buffer between the back of our property lots and the next property over. So that's not owned by those individual tenants. That's not owned by those homeowners through there, that'll be owned by the HOA. So that's common area, it's preserved, it's gonna be planted with an evergreen hedge. That evergreen hedge will provide all that more privacy. 50 feet is quite a lot. We don't get to do that on every project, so it's kind of nice to be able to have that affordability here. But then again, we went ahead and want to beef that up as well. So that is the back of those lots. We want to create an evergreen hedge to provide some opacity between them and the neighboring lots, a lot more privacy. Besides that, the rest of the project is the same as you saw before, same number of units, no changes there. Looking forward to bringing it to light. Oh, the other change I will point out is we heard some concerns about a connection that we were showing to Roxbury Lane. We were trying to create some connectivity and allowances there for neighbors to visit neighbors, et cetera. But we heard that as a concern. We listened, we responded. We've removed that connection. We are still showing a gravel connection just for emergency purposes only. So that connection is gated. It'll be controlled with a Knox lock that the fire department has a key to. So if there's ever an accident or something that is blocking the end of Roxbury Lane, those people won't be stranded at the end of their driveway or have to go through a field. There's a direct connection there that the fire department can open that gate and make that connection, serve that from emergency purposes. But it does have no other vehicular connection to that. With that, I know you've seen this before. Happy to answer any questions. I can do that now or later, whichever is your preference.
If there are any questions, we'll move into public comment. Okay, thank you. Okay, well, we're moving into public comment. That's okay. That's okay. I'm glad to have everybody here. Okay, now this is the portion where if you want to ask a question or make a comment, you come up, introduce yourself, say where you're from, you live wherever you live, and feel free to ask your question. So come on up to the speaker, and whoever wants to go first.
So I'm Sammy Beach. We just moved here. We've been here about less than 3 months. We live on Roxbury Lane. So some questions I have. We live right on Roxbury Lane. You answered my questions about the buffer. That's nice to know. And the gravel road we saw on the map. That's nice to know. We are concerned about more police protection. We're concerned about coming down American Legion. They don't do 25 miles an hour. They don't. So we're concerned about that. There are police officers who drive up there and drive back down on occasion. It's not a consistent thing, and it is a concern because I'm disabled and I got to go across the street to get the mail. So people actually doing the speed limit is a concern because they can fly down that hill and take me out in a heartbeat.
You don't want that.
No, I don't want that either. Are they going to be condos with an association? Are they going to be apartments?
There are no apartments. There are townhouses and single-family detached homes. And
Around back of the single.
correct, all single. They'll all be fee simply owned, and there will be a homeowners association that will govern
Attached.
that development.
And then do you have a price range yet?
We do, yeah.
I can speak on that. On the townhouses, 279,000. On the single-family houses, starting at 349,000.
Okay. Anyone?
You mean chicken house?
Did I do it on? I did. Chicken houses, something.
Looks like chicken house.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Come on up.
Okay. Name's Joseph Miller. I lived in Irish Lane for 60 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand you plan on running the road down through there. Is that right? Off Irish Lane, straight out into the field there?
It's extended Irish Lane, yes, that's correct.
Okay. They can't take it. We've got so much traffic on this road right now that you can't even walk alongside the road with traffic. It's almost like you're driving down Route 11 or something. They're going that fast. Everybody knows, lives up there.
Okay.
Never thought we'd ever come to this.
Okay.
That's the only thing I can say for you. I'm very much against it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks, sir.
and I'm like here.
I have one more thing to say. We're very much against it also. We do not want those, we do not want the traffic, and we do not want the influx of people. All the neighbors feel safe.
How you doing? My name's Leonard Colors, I live off of Road 800 there across from the Roxbury. What I want to know is where's all the stormwater going to go from all the housing, all the water coming off the hill?
All I can say, and probably the engineer can speak better, they're not allowed to bring any more stormwater off that property than currently is. That's a state rule. And what's going on is you'll notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4 holding ponds that it goes into, and that's it, I guess, dissipates lower.
Releases it at a certain rate.
Sorry. And actually, when we've had these developments, like Walmart and so forth, it's actually helped, I'd say, fix and improve the water issues we've had.
I understand that.
But no, they're not allowed to send more water.
All right, how many townhouses to go build in the field across from me?
I'd have to show you the plan. You'd have to see the plan.
The project has a total of 58.
58, yeah.
Yeah, total, but across from you,
Yeah.
where is yours at there,
It's
Ryan?
gonna be right along here. And so,
You'd be seeing the side, you'd see the side of the row of townhouses going away from you, is what you would say.
Right, I'm looking now, looks like a double-deck chicken house in front of me.
The
And
chicken.
I don't like that, the townhouse is already there.
They've got plans of what these look like, but yeah, you'll be seeing the side of them from your place, correct?
The back side or the front side?
I'd say the side.
this side of, so if you have the row of townhouses with a new street going in, you would actually see the end of that row. It wouldn't be the front of them or the back of it, it would be the end unit side of that.
All right, thank you.
And he'd be overlooking the green area.
Right, because I mean, there's green, there, they have open space on both ends of those units there. So.
All right, thank you.
Hey, one more question.
Yes, sir.
Will there be privacy hedges put up along our property line and new townhouses?
I don't know which one's is yours the very last house?
The very last house in Irish Lane.
That's where that buffer he's talking about, that 50-foot buffer. They were originally put right up against your property line where the back of their property would hit yours. Now there's a 50-foot buffer with that hedge that they talked about.
Well, and just to clarify real quick, and I'll circle back on all these, I don't want to interrupt as we go, but just to clarify on that question, the word hedge, I usually think of like, a boxwood hedge, right, something that's about 4 foot. We're talking about an evergreen screen of trees, so these are ranging anywhere 10 to 30 foot tall evergreen trees that are staggered out and have a nice full body screen measure there, so that's more than a hedge.
So you're going to take a view.
If you would prefer to look at the units, we're trying to balance, yes.
You make it very tall, you just.
Anybody else come on up and ask? Mike, you want to ask a question?
I do, thank you. Mike Ray, Main Street, Timberville. Got a question for you. I already know the answer, all right? So I'm gonna ask you to make a pledge. And concerning the water that you're gonna be addressing, do we have enough water to handle this? And in the future, and you're gonna say, yeah, we have enough water. And I want you guys to pledge to me and the people here that if we don't have enough water, that you will resign your position,
Amen.
okay?
Because
To the contractors back here, all right? If we don't have enough water in town, that you supply the town with water. I want that pledge from you. If you're so convinced that there's no water problem, then there should not be an issue with making a pledge. State that. The other thing, we have a new development going in. I'm sure those people would like to have their mail delivered to Timberville instead of a Broadway.
We would love that too.
Okay.
We would love that too, and if we could figure out how to do that, we would surely do it.
So if they can't, if they're gonna pay taxes in Timberville, they ought to have a mailing address in Timberville. If they can't do that, then the town needs to tell the post office, we're gonna stop our growth until you improve your postal. It's not fair.
It's a little harder to deal with the federal government than that.
You know, when I first got here, the post office said, well, you can't put a mailbox up on your side of the street. You have to do it across the street. All right? Me being the type of person I am, persistent, guess what? Ended up on my side of the street because I didn't take no for an answer. Okay?
I don't disagree with you, but the way the federal government does it, you can ask, and once they turn it down, they say, talk to me in 10 years.
We had our legislative representatives take it all the way up, and they couldn't get it done.
Well, how can you ask people to move into Timberville and they have to use a Broadway address?
The post office told us, they said, zip codes don't dictate boundaries of municipalities.
I am 100% with you on that one.
Yeah, I think everybody here would agree with that, that like.
We want them all to say Timberville.
Okay.
But
So back to the original, are you gonna make that pledge? Are you gonna make that
It's
pledge?
public comment, it's public comment.
it's public comment, but, I mean, we would not do growth unless we were sure we had a partner.
Then it shouldn't be a problem to make the pledge.
I'm not-
If you're confident, I make the pledge. Then if we run out of water, I will resign my position. Because I made a bad decision. If we run out of water, because we built this division, then the contractor ought to be able to supply water to the residents. If he's confident, if you're confident, there shouldn't be any problem about making the pledge before the town.
Anybody else? Yeah, go ahead, you want to address some of the questions we have?
Sure, those that I can. Excuse me 1 second. So, you heard comments about concerns of traffic on American Legion. The one thing that I just would like to point out with the roadway configuration, and again, let me preface everything by saying that the property is zoned, of course, R5 today. There's an approved plan of development today. Houses can be built today. This is what we believe is a superior plan than the existing plan. That's the only reason to bring it forward. Under the current plan, all of the units on the larger tract of land only have access through Irish Lane. So all of those cars are going out Irish Lane under the current plan. The proposed plan that we have in front of us today makes the connection through the new lot and makes that allowance to where the new roadway connection closer to Lone Pine on American Legion now connects the entire development. And if I'm living on that far end of the project and 95+% of my traffic, probably more, is going to be going out somewhere through Lone Pine, whether I'm heading north, south, east, or west, I'm pretty much going in that direction. I'm not going to take Irish. It's an older road. This is a newer road that's fully developed and it's more direct. So from a natural inclination standpoint of the users, of the residents here, we anticipate those to nearly, the vast majority to all take the newly built connection as opposed to the Irish. Certainly much less traffic on Irish than what is under the current plan, even though it has fewer units. So just one point of clarification there as it relates to traffic. As it relates to stormwater, correct? Yeah, the stormwater is a very detailed subject. It ends up being the largest bulk of any of these project designs. There are a lot of restrictions on how stormwater is treated, and then those restrictions get more and more restrictive every couple of years. But yes, in simple terms, we're not allowed to release any more water than what's currently released, but we also have to treat it, so that you're not just quantity, but also on a quality basis. So generally for these projects, we have bioretention cells. Those bioretention cells clean the water by taking particulates down into the root system, and they can degrade it there versus being dumped down into the stream directly. And then also a lot of times we'll absorb water, so you end up with a better condition after the development than before, because currently there's just no such element there. So that's on stormwater. As it relates to, the pricing points, And the look, I think the appearance of the units was shared last time. These are, they're a fine quality product. We're talking about $279,000 unit. They're not meant for poultry. These are, high quality units. So with that, happy to answer any other questions that the Planning Commission or council may have.
Mr. Billhammer, I think that you should show them what the pictures look like.
I'd be happy to. I have with me tonight, this is, and I can pass this around, this is the only copy, if someone would like to see it. So this is the townhouses.
They're two-story or three? They're three-story?
We have,
At the front, you'll be looking at the back.
yeah,
But it's still three stories, right?
Yeah.
it is, yeah.
So you've totally wiped out our view.
Yeah, it is something.
Yeah, building.
Yeah, you
You've totally
If you
wiped
got a
out.
picture of the back, you can show it.
I do have a picture of the back,
So
if
if
you'd
you
like to
can
see
walk
it.
out, sit on the front porch, we stare at trees.
You can be looking at the back, not the front.
Yeah, but what we look at, now we see the cows, we see, we see what's around us. Now we're looking at nothing.
We have one other person.
In the billboard.
Yeah, shame on you.
And the single family, I don't have a color photo, but the single family speaks for itself. It's a single family residence. This is one of the, it's a nice garage. It's a modern look.
Typical of anything you see built today, it's a modern home.
Is it all townhouses going in the field?
That's right.
Across from on 800?
That's right. The townhouses will be, as you're going, I guess, to the east, the first road where the townhouses are already on Lone Pine will be in that field. That's correct. The single family will be just above it.
We have one other person that comment.
Yeah, hello, my name is Tim Beach, I also live off of Roxbury. I've been looking at the town of Timberville's maps and graphs and such. I looked at American Legion Way, and the way that it's either graded or inspected, I don't know what the correct word is, but it's graded as poor in quality.
What is?
As far as the road is concerned. American Legion Road. Okay? So graded as poor. Now, with all the traffic that is going to already go down there, and what the gentleman said off the blue off of Irish Lane, are there going to be any improvements
You can see the
to
whole
that road
the single
on
family of the
American
town.
Legion Way? As far as widening, repaving,
The single
or
family,
something
we
to
don't
make
have
it better
color
than
photos.
a
But if you look
poor
at,
graded road?
And slow it down.
And slow it down. Well, if you're going to make an improvement,
this is the single
in my
family.
opinion, people most likely,
From the Dover.
just
It's
go
about
faster.
1,500 feet.
So we would have to check with VDOT on that because the town doesn't have control of its streets. VDOT still maintains all the roadway. So that would be a question we'd have to pose to VDOT to see.
Will you propose that question to me?
Yes, we can absolutely ask VDOT that.
Do you agree with that question?
I'm sorry?
Do you agree with that question?
I think it's a very fair question.
Okay.
Yeah, to see if they have any plans of doing any kind of improvements.
Who actually inspects the road to grade it at a certain level?
That's a VDOT, it's all done VDOT.
All done
It's all
VDOT?
VDOT's level, yes. Mhm.
Okay.
We would like to have control of our roads so that we could put that money towards where we feel that it would be best, where it would be best spent. But at this point, we aren't able to take over our streets at this time.
If there's more people, they might be able to.
Yeah, once we get, right now our population's around 3,000. Once we hit the 3,500 population mark, that's when we get to take over our streets.
The town does.
The town take over the streets at that point, and then we get.
So how soon will you take over the town, the streets then? When you hit 3,500? What's your planning projected of that?
That's why we need developments like this, is so that we can get to that point, yeah.
We can't plan on it unless we own it.
Uh-huh.
But as soon as what happens is the funds start coming to us. And then we have to have a plan to utilize the funds. And then we can actually put sidewalks in and fix the streets that we think need to be done and things like that instead of waiting.
There's also a sidewalk plan to go up American Legion?
There's
adjacent to these townhomes?
All the homes,
Not on American.
all new subdivisions in town have to have sidewalks.
So within the division itself?
Within the
townhomes
division
still have
itself.
Sidewalks?
Right.
Not along American Legion?
They're not required to put them up there, no.
Okay.
How did Legion Hills get away without sidewalk?
That was in the county when it was approved and developed. and then the town annexed that in 2007. And so, once it was already approved, at that point when it's approved, it basically becomes law. We try to get it changed so that they had to have sidewalks, and
There's no place to put them, they go down.
well, but we couldn't force them, right, we couldn't force them to do that at that point because the plan had already been approved. So that's one of the things of what you get when you inherit something is you, especially when when another entity's requirements are different from what the town's would be, you unfortunately are at the mercy of those requirements instead of what the town would like to have.
Is there a link somewhere to get a copy of the project plans and specs? So we can actually know where these buffers are between,
So
by the way,
they're
I live in
listed-
Region Hills on Pride Circle. And so this is right in my backyard.
Right. So the concept plan is posted on the town's website. I don't know if you,
Well, the revised one or the one that you approved? Because I'm hearing
This
this.
one
this
here.
one, the proposed one,
This one.
that was on the town website, right?
Okay.
Mhm, yes.
Yeah, there is a buffer. I think it's more than 50 feet between Legion Hills and the other ones. It looks more like 100 or so feet buffer.
Okay.
I mean, I'm guessing from what the scale I'm seeing. But yeah, there's an L-shaped buffer between all the back of the single-family homes that are, I guess would be in your all's backyard, I guess.
Yeah, because we have no buffer, ours is right up against, my backyard literally is adjacent to this property.
But there'll be a 100-foot buffer from the back of the property that the HOA controls, or thereabouts.
Right.
Okay.
One last question, I know everybody's talking about water pressure. Legion Hills has probably some of the worst water pressure I've seen in many areas. I was a former HOA president, and that was a phone call I would get on a regular basis. What is the plan to ensure, because this is not about volume, this is about pressure. And once you start drawing off X number of homes, is there a plan to enlarge piping serving that side of the town?
We would have to ask our engineer about, whether just increasing the size of the pipes would increase the pressure. It usually gets into a lot more with the hydraulics than just that.
All our water lines are engineered, and all of them are developed. We did that years ago, spent the money to have everything engineered to where we know if we change one pipe or change one location, what the expected volume to it is.
Right.
So our engineer will have to look at this to see.
So that has already been done and taken into account?
Our engineer will have to look at it. I don't know if he's truly looked at it as of yet.
The future plan for?
Yeah.
We've talked with the engineer about that, and the ultimate future plan is to have some kind of storage facility on the hill there. The initial talk was an elevated tank, but we've gotten away from, the engineer actually is talking now about the potential for a ground, more like a reservoir that would be in the ground and have pumps in it to create the pressure that way instead of having something.
You've got the highest level up there at Legion Hills, and they've got, I don't know, 10 or 15 acres that may be available to be able to negotiate for something like that.
Yeah, we've talked about that already. Because it was talking about a water tower, and it just would not look good in a water tower.
And that goes back with what we talked about before with our search for a water source. That area over there is where we are looking, that's where the study is taking place. We've got about 5 different places that we've identified.
Where the old well is?
That's one of them right there because obviously there was a well there. So it was like, that made, it seems to make sense. But then there's 4 others besides that location in that same vicinity in the fields over there, trying to anticipate that if we get a good source there, we can develop some kind of storage facility and won't have to pipe it all the way back to the other tanks or something like that. And that'll help with the, help increase the pressure in Legion Hills.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other comment? Then I'll close this joint public comment between the planning commission and council. And as we go to planning commission today. Do you need to discuss anything else at this time? No. So you typically have a recommendation to council, and the council decides that they're going to vote on today or table it and discuss it further. So do you have a recommendation to the council?
Yeah, we recommend for the town council to consider the proposed development
Okay.
as presented.
So now, now it comes to the council, and council can.
So planning commission is recommending approval.
Yes,
Correct.
that's right. So now it's to the council, and council,
Unless they have any other business, then we can close the meeting.
okay, they can close theirs now? Okay, you can go ahead and close yours.
Yeah, I'd like to close the session of the typical planning commission.
Now reopen the council meeting. Okay, council. Again, if there's been some questions, we can table it and look into those questions, or we can vote tonight. It's whatever the opinion of the council is.
What questions still need to be answered? I know there was one that you said about consulting with an engineer about water flows.
Also, the quality of American Legion.
Right, the streets, or American Legion Drive in particular, as to VDOT's plans for that, if there are any plans in the near future for that, for improvements. And then for water pressure in Legion Hills.
Well, I think we need to, in my opinion, we should answer all of those questions before we make a decision. So if there are still questions on the table, then I think they need to be researched and answered before we decide.
Which are those two? The engineer could pretty quickly do the one with his modeling. And VDOT, we'll talk to VDOT, but we'll see what VDOT has to say. But we also found out with VDOT, which was kind of interesting, they don't even get to choose what roads they're working on. They have a computer system where a car drives around, photographs the roads, and tells them what roads they're going to be working on. It's a different, and that's what rates it.
That still doesn't answer my question though.
Yeah, I know, it doesn't answer your question. I'm just saying we can ask
You
VDOT.
can look on your own town maps.
Okay. Yeah, I
On your
understand.
own town maps from Lone Pine to Roxbury, that road is graded as poor. That's exactly across the street from where you want to build these.
I understand.
Okay, then.
We'll talk to VDOT.
It kind of makes sense that maybe that should have been done prior, but maybe it's just me. I don't know. It's possible.
Okay, so do we have a motion to table it to get these questions answered?
That's my motion, yes. I said we wait until our questions are.
Okay, then make the motion to table.
Okay, I make a motion to table it until we have further information.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Go around the room.
No.
Wait. Motion
Motion to
to
table.
table it, yes.
What did you say?
He said no to table
Okay.
it. She's saying yes to table it.
Yes.
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 Okay, then it'll be tabled, and we'll come back next month and hopefully have those two questions answered. Okay, thank you all. Where are we at now? Business and industry. Any update on business and industry?
Following up from last month.
Let's pause. If anybody wants to leave, we'll wait there.
Now it's like last Exodus. Most of it is just the same thing. By the way, hear your questions and concerns.
And we'll know the right direction, like especially on
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
No, but you threw me for a loop. I was like, wait, what? I see your.
I just don't think it's gonna pass. I think it should be voted on, because then we're gonna have to decide why.
I think it will, but I think it's so that.
Maybe I was just.
All right. So following up from last month's meeting, Sharon had asked about the permits for the new restaurant down here. I checked with the county and they did have permits for it.
Okay.
Yeah. The Boost Mobile store has closed, and the current tenant has inquired about opening a bake shop. So I sent the information over to them today, the conditional use permit, so that will probably be, I don't know if they'll get everything in time for next month's meeting.
Are they too close to the school?
No, because we didn't put any kind of restrictions in on, we did it as a conditional use so that council could consider it that way.
What do you have to stop food lines, from selling cigarettes if you won't put a vape shop going?
So, but we removed, we had that real long list of requirements to start with, and it got pared down, and that distancing was one of those that was taken. So, we do have a new food truck. that's been up here at the parking lot of Top Shelf. It's Tequiza Trompo Loco. So it's a taco and burritos and food of that light.
Do we get the meals tax off of those?
We do.
So of the barbecue truck
Yes.
also, and then now for this,
Yeah.
do they have to apply for a business license?
Yeah, they're treated just like any other business.
restaurant.
They just aren't fixed into the ground.
Okay.
And we were, and when they come in to set up and to get that stuff, we always require them to provide a letter from the property owner, you know, just to make sure that the property owner's okay with it too, so. I think that's what I have for business and industry.
Okay. Parks and Rec, any update?
The bathroom project will be done by the end of next week. So, and then our trunk or treat is the following week.
Okay.
So that, I talked to, or this communication with the contractor, and he said it would be done by the end of next week. And then I had sent out the thing about the peace pole in the memo. Feelings from council?
I don't remember what that was.
It's what the Rotary wants to, it's the pole that has the peace things on it that they would like to install at one of the parks.
Do you know which one it's gonna look like? When I look online, there's like multiple.
Yeah, I think it's so varied on whether they're colorful or, I can find out.
Where do they want to put it?
They
just want.
They just want to know if we would, you know, if we could find a spot for them to put one in. So.
I guess I'd like to know what it looks like.
Okay, I'll get that
Yeah, I'd like to
information.
know but I mean,
Yeah.
I'm cool with whatever a peace pole is. I want to see what a peace pole is.
I mean, I looked on the website, there's multiple versions of it.
Yeah, I did too.
So
Okay.
I just was wondering which version they were thinking about getting.
I'll find
Just
out.
let us know what it looks like, please. Okay, finance, anything? How's the audit going?
The audit is complete. We just need to get some paperwork back to them.
Okay.
So we should have reports next month. for
Okay.
that.
Awesome, thank you. Personnel, chief, AC?
I mean, Chris summed it up with what he said earlier. It's a big team. So,
Okay.
I think Chief's department's getting back to full strength, and which is always positive.
11 days, we're back.
Okay. Memorial.
Heritage Days was a great success, and then November 3rd is the art show and sale.
Okay. Oh, there you are. Anything today?
Nothing today, I think we've had enough for tonight.
Okay, thank you, sir. Other business for the council.
Yes, I want to pick up that blight and condemnation
Okay.
issue. So I'm going to give you a little handout. Try to get it down to one page. So there are, I can send this around via email to the council members, so you can click on the links if you want to see the necessary statutes. The main thing is, I went by and looked at the property. We've got busted windows, and you said the grass is always an issue. It's like nuisance and blight. It would qualify under a nuisance or blight. So the last time we did it with the Church Street property, we actually started with a blight and then switched to nuisance. We wound up raising the building, assessing the liens, selling the property, and the town was out a significant amount of money by doing it. I have been in consultation with AC, and I think for this time, it would make much more sense if we were to go the straight blight and condemnation route. So this is a timeline. So AC, did you already send blight determination notices, like under bullet point number 1?
Yeah, that was what was returned.
And so that's already been returned.
Right.
So at this point, because we've already sent the initial notice as to how the determination was made, and they didn't respond within, they have 30 days from when the notice went out to respond, which they're not going to because it was returned, right? Then the town can pass an ordinance declaring the property blighted, which we would do at the November council meeting. I would draft the ordinance and we would declare the property blighted. So after that, then we could proceed with condemnation proceedings to actually take the property and correct it on our own. We'd have to pay a fair market value. So I would encourage the town to go ahead and do a appraisal. It's a residential appraisal versus a commercial appraisal, so it should be quicker and cheaper than we were talking about doing a commercial appraisal. And I think we could have, we also have to do a 60-year title search, but we could be doing that while they're putting the appraisal together. I think that could be completed in this calendar year, so that by the end of this year or early 2025, we could file our initial pleading with the court. For a condemnation, you tell the court, this is the appraised value, so the town is paying in this amount of money to the court in case it's contested. At the same time, we would be sending an offer to the owner saying, we're willing to buy the property for what we believe to be the fair market value, and there's a negotiation period in case they were willing to sell it to the town. The main reason we want to do that is for the town to then get control of the property before we incur any costs. Because usually with a property like that, we could probably sell it in its current condition, and then somebody else could take on the cost of remodeling the building or raising it or whatever. We would need a couple hearings and some evidence, but it would all be from the appraiser. So I think best case scenario, you'd be getting a final order to have this finalized, and then the town be able to proceed however they want with it by late spring of 2025, April, May of 2025. If we go the condemnation route. I think that's faster than doing the nuisance and blight because of all the published timelines, and I think the risk is lower in terms of cost on the town.
Thank you.
So we come up with
What
this.
the owners, where did they live?
I think it was kind of a false run address.
But, so we just come up with the amount we feel it's worth with what's there now.
I mean, we can use, we'll look at the tax assessed value, but also the appraised value, and we'll send them a notice of, we intend to do this, and here's what our offer is. But if we're struggling to make contact with them, then that's the whole reason of paying the money into the court, because then the court holds it basically like an interpleader until someone comes forward to claim the money.
We just gotta make sure whatever we do, we can recoup. Because before we lost.
I mean, the condition that it's in now is pretty rough shape.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's not going to be worth much more than an unimproved lot. In fact, it may actually be worth less than an unimproved lot because of the dilapidated
You gotta
structure.
remove it. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But a lot in town with water and sewer connectivity is worth something.
Right.
So you'll have developers that are interested in it.
Okay. No, it sounds like a way to do it without eating a ton of money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the other thing last time is we got into asbestos abatement, which added onto it, and so this is a way to take it without destroying anything.
Any other business, council?
Thank you.
Okay. Any more public comment?
I don't have any public comment, but I want to thank the staff for everything that they do, especially during that water leak. I appreciate it. We are very lucky to live in the town we live
Awesome. So we got those two items to look into, and then you will put out another, I guess we can, how can we answer the questions without having to answer? Can we answer them for people prior to coming into the meeting, then we, once we found out the water and that kind of thing?
Depends on the way to do that. I mean,
Gotta be a way. Because some people may come back, some may not, and we just want to make sure everyone has it prior to the meeting, if that's possible.
and I think a lot of the residents talk to each other, so as long as we might be able to hit one or two that can, then it'll spread that way. But
Right.
we'll make a good effort to get the information out to the residents.
Okay. Anything else, council?